here are the things that I believe I need to do for 12 weeks straight to see an improvement in my golf game. I mean, you could argue that Scottie Scheffler did not have his best stuff. I mean, he battled the left miss on Sunday. On Thursday, he had a mud ball that led to a double bogey. He made some mistakes. He absolutely didn't run away with it early, but he just was the steadiest player in the field. The stretch that he went on Saturday afternoon was mind-blowing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Golf and Politics. You're stuck with just me today, but me and Jordan, our producer, is going to be piping in on a few things. Rob is in England playing some incredible golf courses. I know he said multiple times that last year was his year of yes, but Jordan, he's off to a banger of a start here in 2025, playing some great golf courses, and I can't wait for him to be back and for us to talk through some of those courses and live a little bit vicariously through Rob's travels at times. But Jordan, what are we going to talk about today? Since Rob's not here, we don't have a guest. I guess there was a little golf tournament this weekend, right?
Yeah. So just a quick overview. We're going to talk about the PGA Championship. You're gonna touch on some political topics, tease them for what you and Rob are gonna tee up when he's back. We're gonna do some Parker Improvement Project.
So in other words, we're just gonna talk golf and politics.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's start with this weekend. Scottie Scheffler cruises to a massive victory in the PGA Championship. There's a lot of people, Jordan, that are out there saying that this major championship was a letdown. And I get that after we witnessed what we witnessed in April with Rory McIlroy completing the Grand Slam and just the amazing fireworks down the stretch where at times he looked like the best player in the world, which, arguably he is the best ball striker in the world at times. And then at other times he made major mistakes and caused it to be incredibly close down the stretch and wins with an incredible shot in the playoff. Everybody's saying it's one of the best Masters we've ever seen. So, yes, it does feel a little bit like a letdown. But I think we just should focus on the greatness of Scottie Scheffler. I mean, this is a guy that's doing things that haven't been done since Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. Now, before people lose their mind, I'm not ready to crown him the next Tiger Woods. All I'm saying is he is doing some things that are Tiger-esque. He's doing some things that are similar to Jack Nicklaus. He's exercising major dominance over the field. And I think I said this on one of our podcasts earlier in the year. I think it was the podcast with Tracy Phillips. Scottie at the beginning of the year is coming off an injury, and it was a weird injury when he was cooking with his wife and cut his hand and couldn't practice and had to bow out of some tournaments. And I remember him saying something to the effect of he felt like his game was just absolutely trash. And he was finishing in the top 10 in these events. And he was saying in interviews, my game is trash. And I said, watch out. Once his game's not trash, this guy is incredibly dominant. And 2 weeks ago, we saw him down in Dallas, the DFW area, dominate the field, shoot 31 under, takes a week off, skips the elevated event last week, and then comes out, doesn't have his best stuff, and runs away with the tournament. I mean, you could argue that Scottie Scheffler did not have his best stuff. I mean, he battled the left miss on Sunday. On Thursday, he had a mud ball that led to a double bogey. He made some mistakes. He absolutely didn't run away with it early, but he just was the steadiest player in the field. The stretch that he went on Saturday afternoon was mind-blowing. I mean, he finished 5 under in the last 5 holes, which you could argue 16, 17, 18. The Green Mile at Quail Hollow is arguably 3 of the toughest finishing holes in all of golf. And what we saw Saturday, too, was a major emotion out of Scottie Scheffler, something that we don't usually see. He's cool, calm, and collected. I mean, we got a little F yeah, baby, when he made that putt on 18. He was fired up. I mean, you saw the emotion, too, on Sunday when he went and embraced Ted Scott as caddy. I mean, this guy is a competitor. I wouldn't be fooled by his good outlook on life. I wouldn't be fooled by the fact that he loves his kid and he's a touchy-feely dad and he's a good husband. And, I mean, he's generally a good guy. But he's a bad dude on the golf course. He is a dog on the golf course, and he wants to win, and win at all costs, and he does it week in and week out. He's competing. He's won. Let's listen to some of these stats. He has 15 career wins now on the PGA Tour. This includes his most recent victory at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Won the Masters in 22 and 24. With these wins, Scottie Scheffler joins only two other people, Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, the only players to win 3 majors and at least 15 PGA Tour titles before the age of 29. And think about this stat from the weekend. He gained 4.5 strokes on the field, when you add up. So you think about the average score of everybody every day, he's 4.5 strokes better than the average tour pro. So if you put that in terms of like a handicap, like Rob is 4.5 strokes better than me. He's a solid scratch golfer, probably a +1, somewhere in that neighborhood. Rob will gain on average, if you average his last 20 rounds or his last 4 rounds and my last 4 rounds, he's going to be gaining on average 4.5 strokes a round on me, who's a 4 handicap. Scottie Scheffler is doing that to everybody else in the field. Like, his ability right now is heads and shoulders above everybody else. And what's interesting to me about Scottie, Jordan, is he has no weaknesses. Like, he's not driving it like Bryson. Bryson and Rory are the best drivers of the golf ball on the planet. Rory didn't drive it well this weekend, and he was completely out of contention. Never in contention this tournament because he couldn't hit fairways. Bryson's bombing at 350 on average, down the middle of the fairway. And Scottie's not hitting that far, but he still hits it far enough. He was in the top 30 in driving distance. He's in the top 10 in driving accuracy. He was number 1 in greens hit and regulation, strokes gained approach. He putted extremely well in the top 10 putting. Just his course management is unbelievable. And he might not be as exciting as Tiger Woods, but he sure is a good golfer, and he's somebody that I believe still hasn't reached the age of 30. I mean, I think he's on total to win double-digit majors. I really do. I know that's a bold statement to make, but look, Phil Mickelson won a major at 51 years old. Tiger won in his 40s. Rory just won at age 38. He's got a lot of years and a lot of majors in front of him, and I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. His game just travels. I don't care what golf course you're playing at. His game absolutely travels. And so I'm bullish on Scottie Scheffler, and I think I think we're going to see double-digit majors out of him. Interesting thing, Jordan, I watched a clip of him the other day, and at his club in Dallas, he says when he's not on tour, every Friday and Saturday, he plays the normal club games with all the guys at the club. And oftentimes, he said, I'll be playing a 13 handicapper, and I got to give them a stroke a hole, plus on some holes, I got to give them 2 strokes. And he goes, I still usually win. I mean, so thinking that through, if I'm playing Scottie Scheffler at his home club, he's playing to a +7.5. At that club, I'm probably playing from the tees he's playing at, I'm probably playing a 7.5. So, I mean, he's giving me 14 or 15 strokes, and I don't think I could beat Scottie Scheffler getting 14 strokes. I think I would need a stroke a hole and have to play my butt off because he's probably going to shoot 65, 66 every round out. I mean, this guy's, he's incredible. And, it wasn't, look, did I doze off a little bit on Sunday as I was laying on the couch watching? Yes. Did I doze off at all during the Masters in April? No. I get it. He kind of ran away with it. I would say that John Rahm and Bryson were the only ones that had a chance, and they just didn't make anything happen. In fact, Rahm kind of blew up at the end. But, he's the man right now. Clear number 1. He's number 1. Then there's a whole other group of people.
Matt, do you think Scheffler's the next to win a Grand Slam? Do you think he Grand Slams in his career?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, look, it's hard to do. I mean, I would have said once Phil Mickelson started winning majors in his 30s, I thought that he would do it. We've been saying that Rory's going to do it for 10 years, or for 10 years that Rory's going to do it. Jordan Spieth have said that for years that he was going to do it. He hasn't done it. I get it. Golf's hard. He might go through some rough patches, but right now he's not showing any signs of that. I mean, just look at his consistency. Since he won his first event, it's just been pure dominance. I mean, clear world number 1. Now, do I think some people can challenge him? Yeah, let's go through some people that I think can challenge Scottie Scheffler going forward. If you look to the Live Tour, Jon Rahm, that's who I picked to win at Quail Hollow this week. And the reason I picked him, like my head said pick Scottie Scheffler. And I love Scottie Scheffler. I'm a big Scottie Scheffler fan. My heart, I got this weakness for the Live guys. I just feel like they're just constantly getting a bad rap. And I've been upset at the way people have trashed Jon Rahm on social media. I mean, they've acted like this guy has just retired from golf, doesn't care anymore, and isn't any good. He's played 19 events on the Live Tour. He's never finished outside the top 10. He's won multiple times on the Live. He finished in the top 20 at the Masters in April. He finished 7th at the Open Championship last year. Jon Rahm is a dominant force in the game of golf. He went through a little rough patch where he didn't win a major every year. And he went to Live, and so it was an excuse for people that hate Live to trash Jon Rahm. So that's why I picked Rahm. And he proved me right with my pick. I mean, he was right there. I mean, that was a good pick. I think he had a really good chance. He got a couple bad breaks on putts. If they fall on that back nine and the momentum goes, I don't think he's firing at that pin the way that he was trying to make something happen on 16. Maybe we have a different outcome. But Jon Rahm can definitely challenge Scottie Scheffler. Bryson DeChambeau is proven over the last 7 majors he's been in. I mean, if you take out the British Open last year, I think Bryson's always going to struggle with the British Open until he learns how to control his trajectory. And that was clearly the case. He had problems with that at Quail Hollow. He's hitting the driver better than anybody in the history of the game this week at Quail Hollow. It was mind-blowing how far and how straight he was hitting his driver. His distance control was pure garbage. I mean, I think he was first in overall driving and 96th in approach. And my stat might be off there, but somewhere in that neighborhood. And he even admitted, in his interviews after the rounds, I can't control my golf ball when there's wind. Well, that's going to be a problem at the Open Championship for Bryson. But at Oakmont in June, where the wind's not going to be blowing in Pittsburgh, it's going to be hot and humid. Bryson's going to be one of the top 5 favorites to win the U.S. Open. I think Oakmont will be fine for Bryson. He also isn't afraid to hit it out of the rough. He's got so much power. I think that he'll be okay. He's got creativity around the short game. The thing for Bryson, if he can learn to dial in his distances, he's going to challenge Scottie to be world number 1 eventually. He's going to be in the mix. And then if you're looking at the PGA Tour, Rory's not going anywhere. It was a bad week for Rory, but I wouldn't. I think Rory's going to be a top 5 favorite at Oakmont, and I think Rory's going to be the favorite at Royal Portrush later in the year. That's that course. He knows it very well. That's where he's from. I think that he's going to be a force. Xander Schauffele obviously isn't going away. He's coming off an injury. He still has all kinds of game. Won 2 majors last year. And so, I think if you really look at golf right now, I think there are 5 golfers that are in a discussion, and then there's everybody else. I think it's Scottie, clear number 1. Rory, I think, a clear number 2. Bryson is like 2A, in my opinion, or maybe 3. I mean, he's right there, and so is Xander. Xander and Bryson are right there. And Jon Rahm, this guy's got a good head on his shoulders now. Like, I was very impressed with his interview after. He's had a tendency, I felt like the last couple years since he went to Live, that when he showed up at major championships, I felt like he was pressing. And I felt like he's just, and I get that way on the golf course, where you're in a match and you really want to win and you start pressing a little harder. It doesn't help your golf game. And I think Rahm went through that and maybe battled some emotions last year, a little bit of anger problems. He had a complete meltdown. There's no other way to put it. He melted down on 16, 17, and 18 and just stumbled into the finishing hole with 2 double bogeys. His interview was great. And he said, hey, I'm blessed to play professional golf for a living. I'm thankful that I get to do it. This is the first time in my career where I've been in real contention with a real chance to win that I didn't close the deal. I'm going to learn from it. And when I go home, my kids aren't going to know whether I did good in this tournament or not. And he really seemed to have a peace about him. And I'm telling you, if that guy gets his head right before major championships, just like Bryson, just like Rory, just like Xander, they're always going to be a factor. And so I think it's interesting to me. It's when I was a kid, graduating high school into college, you had Tiger and then everybody else. And that everybody else group was like Vijay Singh and Phil Mickelson and Ernie Els. I think we're kind of experiencing the same thing now. Again, not ready to say that Scottie is Tiger, but man, he wins another major this year. I think you have to start having those conversations that he's in the same discussion, especially winning by 5 shots in a major is is really impressive.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also saw that Rahm and DeChambeau kind of really fell off on Sunday. They didn't really gain anything, didn't make any ground on Scottie. Brandel Chamblee claimed on the Golf Channel that Bryson and Rahm didn't mount a challenge on the back nine at the PGA because they've been on live. Rob has kind of expressed some thoughts on this previously as well. It's that the 3-day tournaments, being used to that, really affects them when they come to these majors and they're playing 4 days. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think it's trash. Look, it started early in the week. Michael Kim, who I really like Michael Kim. I think he's a great player. I enjoy watching him. I got to see him play out in Phoenix in person, and I think he's an impressive player. But Bryson didn't play real well on Thursday. He was struggling controlling his distances. I think he was 1 over or even. He wasn't necessarily in contention. And Michael Kim tweeted out, well, maybe Bryson isn't used to playing on Thursday. And I thought that was trash. I'm like, come on, dude. That'd be like, back in the day, some 6th man in the NBA criticizing Michael Jordan if he had an off night. Like, let's be realistic here. Like, you're Michael Kim, a very good pro. I mean, having a great season. You're not Bryson DeChambeau. You're not a major champion winner. He's been pretty good in the majors for the last 6 years. I don't think there's anybody arguing that Bryson's not a top 5 player in the world. So I thought that was trash. Then Brandel Chamblee just can't help himself. This guy hates live so much. And I get it. He's paid by the Golf Channel. He's paid to have these hot takes. But it's just so tiring. It's just a terrible argument. Like, to sit there and say, yeah, Jon Rahm didn't win because he plays on live and they only play 3 rounds and he hasn't been playing under pressure as much. Give me a break. Sepp Straka just won last week an elevated event on the PGA Tour. What did Sepp Straka do this weekend? He missed the cut. JT, who I like, and I'm glad JT's playing better. But, he won an elevated event earlier this year. He's been in contention in PGA week in and week out. Where was Justin Thomas, who won at Quail Hollow years ago in the PGA Championship, was there 2017? Where was Justin Thomas this weekend? Oh, that's right. He didn't make the cut. And Jordan Spieth. Look, I love Jordan Spieth too, but he's not been a factor in majors in quite some time after coming on the scene as a 20-year-old, phenom. He hasn't been winning majors. He hasn't been in contention. Where was he this weekend? He missed the cut. So, Hideki Matsuyama, another top player on the PGA Tour, missed the cut. Is it because they're playing on the PGA Tour that they missed the cut? Why is it only the live guys that didn't play well, they get criticism for the format they play when they're not in majors? Look, Jon Rahm didn't win this tournament because Jon Rahm didn't play well enough. Scottie Scheffler is a dog. He played incredibly well. Bryson DeChambeau screwed up on Saturday. He was in the lead, and he blew it. He double bogeyed 16, he bogeyed 17, and part 18. He gave up 3 shots in the last 3 holes. You can't do that if you're going to win a major championship. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that Bryson plays 54-hole tournaments instead of 72-hole tournaments, 20 times a year, as opposed to 20 times a year on the PGA Tour. I don't buy that argument. Jon Rahm, ultimately Bryson didn't win because he didn't have distance control with his irons, and he's got to improve that. He admitted that much. Jon Rahm didn't win because, some putts slipped out, and then he started pressing at the end, and he made a couple terrible mistakes. I think that we way overthink this live PGA thing. Yes, we all would love to see them play more, but you know what? The major championships are going to be great. Golf is in a better spot. I know I've trashed professional golf before, but I think golf's in a good spot. I think there's some really good players. I think we have a clear dominant player and some really, really awesome players, Hall of Fame type players. They're going to chase Scottie, and we're going to see some great major championships. And we're going to see a great Ryder Cup this fall. European team is stacked. Jon Rahm will clearly be on that European team, and Bryson DeChambeau, even though he plays on live, will clearly be on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. And I think it's going to be absolutely awesome for the fans this fall.
Yeah. So switching over to politics a little bit, you and Rob haven't really had a straight up debate on a political topic in a while.
Oh, well, he tries every episode, even if it's, I tell Rob, it's like Shotgun 9. We haven't had a real debate, and we're supposed to have quick questions. And I know, oh man, brace myself. What's coming? What attack is coming? So we've had our debates. We just haven't had shows dedicated to a debate.
Yeah. So are there any topics or debates that you guys are looking at potentially doing some episodes on?
Well, Rob and I haven't talked about this too much, but Rob, he's never met a debate he didn't like, so I'm sure he's game for this. But I mean, I think there are some big issues we can talk through. I mean, let's go over some of the big issues of the day right now. We were rocked on Sunday afternoon, I think, as a country to learn that President Biden, former President Biden, has very aggressive prostate cancer, and the prognosis is not good. And so let's just first say that we're all, thoughts and prayers for sure for President Biden. I hope that he has a complete and full recovery. It doesn't sound good, though. And we can all have sympathy for President Biden, in my opinion, but still question how on earth was this hidden from the American people for 4 years? I mean, Rahm Emanuel's brother was on Morning Joe just the other day saying there's just no way that this is new. President Biden would have had cancer when he got elected president in 2020. And so, where's the cover up on this? I mean, Jake Tapper's book is out. I think there's a lot there. Rob, I'm sure, would call me a conspiracy theorist on this. And the truth is, I'd like to get to the bottom of it. It's not something that keeps me up at night. I think we should move on in some ways from Joe Biden. But, look, the people that held this information from the American people, I think it's fair game to have that discussion. And that doesn't mean that we don't have sympathy for former President Biden. So, I mean, I think that's an issue that at some point we're going to have to discuss on the program because it's going to continue to come up in the news cycle.
Another one that everyone's talking about right now is the Qatari jet.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair game too. I mean, I've read some interesting articles on that. Look, I don't have this major problem with us getting a free jet from Qatar. Is Qatar a perfect country? No. But I mean, I think it's ridiculous to think that our Air Force is not going to absolutely inspect that plane to make sure that it's perfect for use as the new Air Force One. The whole idea of, Trump's taking this gift for personal gain. Look, presidents raise serious funds for their libraries. If somebody gave him a jet after he's president, there's nothing illegal about that. I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, look, Boeing is behind big time on their contract. I'm sure that's an issue Rob will want to debate. I don't really care. I don't know that. I'm sure there's some people, and I've seen it on social media, there's people that have been Trump supporters that do care and have called him out on it. Some high-level conservative talking heads have been very against this. But then I've read a story this morning that it's not actually been a free gift, that our government was actually looking to procure this jet and had discussions with Qatar about it. And as the discussions went on, Qatar's like, well, we can just give you the jet. So again, I don't know all the details. I'm not involved in those conversations. All I know is what I read in the papers on this matter. And it doesn't keep me up at night, doesn't bother me. So I'm more concerned, frankly, about policy. That's what I am most concerned about. And I think that's where Rob and I will have real debates, is on the big, beautiful bill. It's finally getting through some of the hurdles in the House. I know this needs to happen. Our economy will not survive, in my opinion, if we don't keep the Trump tax cuts in place. And look, Rob's big argument will be, that we're deficit spending, and, we need to have, I get it, we need to have cuts, but we also need to make sure that we're not overtaxing our people and going into a recession. So I'm sure these are topics that Rob is going to love to debate over the next weeks and months. And hey, with President Trump, there'll be no dull moments. There'll be plenty for us to talk about on golf and politics. I'm not concerned about us coming up with content. Well, I just need to always have my head on a swivel and ready for what Rob brings, because he always brings the juice in his arguments. I give him that. I don't always agree with him, but I will give him props because he always brings his A game, and I better be on top of my notes, or he'll make me look bad on this program. No doubt about it.
We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but we haven't actually really done a whole lot we've done a lot behind the scenes, but nothing really on the show yet for the Parker Improvement Project. So your goal is to be a solid scratch golfer by the end of the season. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take, I have a couple voice memos that you've been recording post practice sessions.
Some of these are raw,
stuff
man.
That we're going to kind of go through and have.
Let's hear. What do you have for me?
This is a memo right after your first Parker Improvement Project session at Tour Quality back in April.
Philip Walker told me not to come back and see him to fix other problems with my swing until I'm confident that my face will be open to my path and that I can cut it off the tee every time. That I can stand up on a tee box and eliminate the left out of bounds miss, the left trees. And, we hit some right out of bounds today. We hit some in the right trees and the right rough, but we didn't miss left, which was great. So step in the right direction.
So that's the first one. And I'm going to play another one on the driver real quick for you.
Okay. All right.
And this one was from Masters weekend.
Truthfully, the number one thing in my game that I have to change in order to succeed at high levels, I've got to be able to get off the tee. My driver should be my greatest weapon, but it also has been my greatest liability. And it's not just driver, it's just anything off the tee. When I experience these, crazy yips where I start, lunging at the ball instead of making a golf swing. And even though the wind was like blowing 30 mile an hour dead into my face at the range, I was still hitting bombs out there and hitting it well, generating a lot of speed. So I need to just get to a place where mentally I think that I'm on a driving range. My buddy Casey used to tell me that I'm a +2 handicap in scrambles and a shaky 4 on my own ball, and he's not wrong. It's because in a scramble, if somebody hit one 235 out in the middle of the fairway, all I got to do is just bomb. I mean, we got one in place, bombs away. And when I swing that bombs away swing, I hit the ball really stinking good. It's when I get tentative and try to guide the ball that I end up with the yips.
Wow. Well, that's I'm glad I recorded those. And I appreciate you saving those. I've been trying to do that, just to journal this, and it's easy to forget what you think immediately after a practice session or after a round. The statistics bear this out, Jordan. It's not a shock that I'm still a 4 handicap, so I haven't gotten better, if you will. I think we're like 4 weeks into the Parker Improvement Project. It's interesting. Driving accuracy, driving penalties is the number one statistics that is holding me back. I am on average losing 2 strokes around to a scratch golfer because of penalties off the tee, which also driving accuracy is a problem. I use Arccos to track my stats. I don't think that Arccos quite gets it right. It sometimes says that I'm losing strokes on approach, and they're not taking into account that my approach shot is coming from the trees. I'm not out of bounds, but if I'm in the trees, that's still a 1-stroke penalty. I am losing pretty much all of my shots to a scratch golfer off the tee. Now, here's what's really interesting. My number one stat for gaining strokes on other scratch golfers is driving distance. Because when I hit it well, my stock driver goes 320 carry. Like on days when it's 80 degrees or above, relatively no wind, and I'm hitting it well, I'm carrying it 320. Like I hit it far. I mean, length is not an issue for me. It's learning to do 2 things. One, it's no big deal. Like if you make 6 or 7 pars in a row and throw in a birdie and you shoot 36 or 35 on the front, but then you turn around the back and hit 2 balls out of bounds and end up shooting 42, you've undone all the work that you did on the front. Like I cannot have those blow-up holes. Those blow-up holes are always a result of a terrible swing off the tee. This weekend was a great example of that. I shot 36 on the front, and it was the second day of our club 4-ball championship. We were leading after the first day in both net and gross. Okay? And there's some good players in my club. I'm a 4, my partner was a 6, and we were leading in gross and in net. Okay? I shot 74 the first day. Jordan, the truth is, it should have been a 68. I mean, I made a lot of birdies. I hit some bombs. I made 2 inexcusable double bogeys because of terrible, terrible tee shots, okay? And I made 2 inexcusable bogeys, one of which was because of a terrible tee shot. And, I mean, that right there, that's at least 3 strokes that I've just given away. Not to mention, I've got to probably take better advantage when I do hit those bombs. You know, I drove multiple par 4s. Didn't make any of the eagles. Had good looks at eagles. Didn't make them. On Friday, I was playing my match play, and I won the match play, but only because I got pops from a +1 handicap. But, like, I drew a 371-yard par 4. I drove the green. I mean, flew it on the green. Flew it 350 and it released back to the pin, 371. Like, I've got that tool. How am I not taking advantage of it, right? And so I can't wait. One of the things I'm going to do to really focus on that is get a playing lesson. And what happens is I'll make one bad swing, and then it's hard to get back on track. It takes me multiple holes oftentimes to get back. Like, one double bogey oftentimes leads to another double bogey. And that's got to come to an end if I'm going to become a scratch golfer. Take advantage of my length, but learn to control that length and put it in play and put it in good positions to really take advantage of it and make more pars and birdies. But really, it's not even about making more birdies. It's about making less doubles. I can't have those double bogeys anymore. So, Jordan, show this. I'm going to say I sent you this. Show this on the screen for our listeners. This is the Parker Improvement Project tracking sheet. And what am I committed to every week? And one of the things that's a challenge, and I have no excuse, right? I mean, you make time for things that are important to you. And I don't always manage my time the way that I should. If I manage my time the way that I should, get all my work done. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning most mornings, right? And that 4 to 8 window is when I get so much of my client work done, where I'm writing copy, I'm editing mail pieces, I'm putting strategy plans and strategy memos together, so that the rest of my day I'm fielding phone calls and texts and having meetings with clients and so on and so forth. If I get up at 5 instead of 4, it totally impacts my ability to practice golf. And so it shows the weeks where I'm not as consistent in waking up. I'm not getting everything done. So if you look at the screen here are the things that I believe I need to do for 12 weeks straight to see an improvement in my golf game. I need to work every day on mental training. And I think that's 15 minutes of either reading a good book on mentality, and it doesn't have to be specific to golf. Just a good mindset in general is going to help me on the golf course. I've been listening to some other podcasts on mental training for golf. I read the book Fearless Golf, but read Bob Rotella's book. I'm diving into those things, and I need to make sure that I'm feeding my mind for at least 15 minutes every day with some positive things that will help me on the golf course. I have a putting mat at my house, and I want 3-foot putts to become automatic. I want to make 99% of 3-foot putts. And so I work on the putting mat with distances between 3 and 9 feet. I also work with a putting mirror to make sure that my eyes and shoulders are in alignment. And I want every week to make at least a mile worth of putts on the putting mat. So the first week I did 5,307 feet worth of putts made. Second week, 5,284 putts made. And then week 3 and week 4, I was traveling a lot, didn't make the time to get upstairs to my putting mat. And only got 1,900 putts in week 3, 1,900 feet of putts, and just under 4,000 in week 4. And look, consistency is key when you're practicing the right things. I need to be practicing on that putting mat and get a mile worth of short putts made, because that's going to equate to the golf course and confidence. I also have a putting card that I've made up. It's a putting practice routine that takes 45 minutes to an hour. I want to make sure once a week that I'm over on the actual putting green, taking part in all those putting drills outside. I also need to practice my bunker play about a half an hour a week. I've missed that 3 straight weeks. Like, I got to get better at that. And unfortunately, I haven't had issues in the bunker. But look, if you don't practice it, issues will develop. Same thing with chipping. Need to practice chipping for an hour and a half every week. And I've been inconsistent there. I also want to do a TrackMan combine every week to do a test and see how I'm doing in a driver and wedge combine as well. I was consistent during the first 2 weeks. I fell off. And really a lot of that's just not planning ahead to get over on the TrackMan at Tour Quality during business, during their, not business hours, but they're open usually till 9:00 at night, like finding a way to get over there and do that. So look, not making excuses, but I think this practice program will work. I need to actually do the work. And just because playing golf is not practice. It's not the same thing. I need to put in that effort on the range, on the TrackMan, on the putting green. And so it was kind of a wake-up call to see that the last 2 weeks I've been inconsistent, to get back on track, doing what I need to do. Because look, I want to succeed at this thing. Like I don't want to be a 4 handicap forever. It's time to get better. It's time to put away the childish things I do on the golf course, which is just mentally not being locked in. And in, like, at times, losing my golf swing, I need to find something that gets me back on track. The good news is that first clip where Philip said, don't come back to see me till you're not missing it left anymore. The only ones I've missed left now are because of misalignment. I'm not hooking the ball. It's very rare. And if I do, it's just I know what kind of bad swing I made to cause that. But I'm pretty confident when I get up on the tee that I'm going to hit the ball with a fade, and that's good. I also have a mini driver that arrives today. I just got the FedEx update. It's arriving at the club today. So hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning I will pick up my new Titleist mini driver, and that will have a draw bias, so that'll be a good option for me off tees where I need to move it right to left. So we're moving in the right direction, Jordan. There's some things I need to improve on from a mentality standpoint and from a practicality standpoint of finding the time to practice. I've got to prioritize it, and I'm not going to be perfect at it, but I need to plan ahead every week to do my client work at the right times, to be available on the phone at the right times, and to be able to practice at the right times.
Wrap it up. I think the last thing we need to do is we did a PGA Championship giveaway for the winners, kind of like we did the Masters Pick'em.
Yeah. Who won?
We actually only had one.
Did you do the drawing?
Yeah, we actually only had one person that picked Scottie Scheffler.
How is that even possible? One, if you're listening and you didn't participate, look, you could have been in a drawing to get a dozen Titleist Pro V1s. It's mind-blowing that only one person picked the number one player in the world. So who was it? Who was the smartest listener of our podcast?
It was Eric Vega.
Eric Vega. Please reach out. Yeah, reach out to Eric, Forrest Jordan. We appreciate him, participating. I don't know Eric, but I see he's followed by a friend of mine, Danny V from Fort Worth, Texas. Used to be my barber when I lived down there. He's one of my good friends. And so I look forward to meeting Eric sometime. Eric, thank you for listening to the program. And Jordan will get all your information and get those out to you. And all we ask is, take a picture with those golf balls when you get them and promote our show a little bit. We greatly appreciate it. And, a little bit more about show promotion. Jordan, we've had some good increases in viewership on YouTube and listeners, but mainly the growth has come on YouTube. What was our percentage growth in the month of April?
24% increase in views. From 10,000 to 13,000.
Wonderful. 24% increase. I think we can do that every month. Help us help you. We want to bring you better content. We want to bring you great stuff from the golf course. Every time we go to the golf course and have camera people there, every time I got to get Jordan on an airplane to go somewhere, it costs money. And so how do we bring you more content? We get more viewers, more eyeballs, more listeners, and we end up with better sponsors and better advertisers. And so we're going to keep promoting the show. One, how can you help us? Sign up for our email list. Our email, we're not going to spam you. Once a week, usually on Wednesday afternoon, you're going to get an email from us with this week's show that gets released, some other fun facts and figures, and maybe a link to an old show or an old clip. It's a great email newsletter. Sign up. Tell your friends to sign up. And be alerted every time a new episode comes out. Also, social media, please. We're seeing great growth on Instagram. Love to see great growth on X and TikTok as well. We had one clip on Instagram that we recorded on the golf course that's received over 1 million views. So we're moving in the right direction there, but we need your help. Share our information. And those of you that are kind of ambassadors for us out there that are telling your friends and family and your golfing buddies and your coworkers, if you work in politics, about the podcast, thank you so much. Like, we're humbled by the people that are listening, and we just want to keep growing this. Like we said early on, our goal is 10x growth this year. And I think that's totally possible because we have great, loyal listeners. And another thing that's coming out this year, look in your mailboxes. If you're a faithful listener, you're probably going to get a magazine from us in the mail, okay? And if you're unsure if I have your address and maybe you're not on the list, email us. Sign up for the email newsletter and then send us a message with your address. We'll get you on the list free of charge. We're going to get a magazine out outlining our first year as a podcast, some great highlights. And that magazine is going to be brought to you free of charge thanks to our good friend Casey Lang at Lang Financial. They are generously underwriting the cost of that magazine and are our only sponsor for that magazine. And it's going to be a tremendous read for you and entertaining. And we want to get that out in the mail in the next few weeks. And so, again, sign up for the email newsletter. If you want, go ahead and send us your mailing address. I will make sure personally that you are on that mailing list. And we're going to print even more of those magazines and hand them out and help build more excitement about the program, about the podcast.
Also in that magazine, if you are a golfer that works in politics, we are officially launching the Marty Russo Political Golfer of the Year in this issue of the magazine.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. And, really, I think Rob's probably going to be in the lead to get started there. And I'm chasing scratch. It's the Parker Improvement Project. So I've got my eyes set on chasing Rob here and inspired by his game and his consistency and trying to get there. And what a great man Marty Russo is. I don't agree with his politics. He was a Democrat. I'm a Republican, but man, he was one of our best guests. I think he was the second episode we ever did. He's a mentor to Rob, and just a fine human being, and probably the best golfer to ever serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. In his heyday, he was a +2, +3 handicap, and so he's in his 80s now. And our ability here to maybe honor him with this new award that we'll do every year, I think will be a lot of fun. And if you're out there and you work in politics and you play golf, I hope your competitive juices are flowing. Sign up to be a part of this. In fact, even if you don't sign up, I'm probably going to sign you up. If I know you play golf and you work in politics, I'm signing you up. And it's not just going to be the golf for the year. We're going to have a whole awards show around this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and just encourage everybody to take part that can. So, again, Jordan, thanks for, kind of prompting me along today and doing this little show on golf and politics. Rob, I miss you, buddy. I'm a little jealous in a good way, not an angry kind of jealous, just jealous in a good way. Those golf courses that you've been posting on Instagram from England, I didn't realize that those inland courses, those parkland courses, some of those that you've been playing over there were that good in England. You think about England, you only think about links golf, and you've been playing some amazing courses. We look forward to hearing more about that, and I look forward to having some arguments with you about the political issues of our day, some debates for our audience so they can get perspectives from both sides. And we just appreciate everybody that listens. If you're on social media, follow us. Golf and Politics on Facebook and Instagram, Golf Politics Pod on X, golf.politics on TikTok, and please subscribe. Slam that subscribe button. Wherever you get your podcast audio or on YouTube, by subscribing, you help us a lot, and sign up for our email list. And we thank each and every one of you for making us a part of your day and listening to our podcast. Have a great one. Hey.